Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for checking out American Made. Today, I wanted to listen to this podcast that I came across with John Alite, where he discusses Sammy the Bull Gravano's involvement in the Gambino crime family and his relationship with John Gotti. First, John Alite discusses the Paul Castellano hit. It's interesting because I've heard John Gotti Jr. say something very similar to what John Alite says. Then later in the video, he discusses what John Gotti's thoughts were towards Sammy the Bull Gravano before their arrest while they're still out on the street. So I thought it was interesting. I wanted to check it out. Let's get right into it.
Police in New York are still looking for the men who gunned down Paul Castellano last night. The police are not sure what they have on their hands. It could have been a killing widely sanctioned by the underworld. It could be the beginning of a gang war.
John wasn't a businessman, John Gotti Sr. He'll say it himself. He was just through and through a gangster. He went on the street. He didn't care about money. He really didn't. I can tell you all the good qualities of John. Because Sammy didn't grow up or know John. He didn't even know him until, 82 or 83. He met him once or twice. So before the hit of Castellano, he didn't even know the guy. John did not know Sammy like that. Sammy did not sleep in John Gotti's house. I did. He didn't grow up in that family's household. I did. John Sr. never trusted him. He didn't have any kind of real trust of the guy. He trusted Frankie DeChico. He trusted Georgie DeChico, his brother. He trusted and loved Joey DeChico, who we call Butter. That's John's loyalty was there. Sammy implemented himself in that storyline. So later on when Castellano gets hit and he doesn't stop talking about it, because that's all he has to try to build himself up to the public, is the Castellano hit. He was solely a made guy only. He wasn't in John's inner circle. So when you're talking about hitting a sitting boss, John did not trust Sammy in those conversations. He trusted Frankie. Did Frankie repeat some of these conversations to Sammy? Yeah, probably. That's probably exactly what happened. But Sammy was only a made guy at the time. He's trying to make himself out to the public like he was John's underboss at that time. I was with John in the car. I drove past the body. It's impossible he drove past that body in Manhattan. It's impossible. You couldn't even get past there if you wanted to during Christmas. And with a body laying in the street, you didn't drive past there. So these are complete lies. Nobody's questioning them. When Frankie gets blown up, John knows that he's got to keep Sammy close to him because he doesn't trust him. He also knows that he's weak, that he may try to set him up if he lets him stray somewhere else. So he pulls him closer. This is one of the most intelligent moves John made. Now you got him on your lap. You kill him when you want. You can abuse him the way you did. You can make him carry umbrellas. You can make him do anything you want, like a trick, like a monkey. He's lucky he survived because he had some strong alliance friendships. That he learned to do. He had an alliance with Frankie DeChico, who was a serious, intelligent gangster. And so was his family, Georgie DeChico and his brother Butter were nice guys besides being well-respected. And he also aligned with John Gotti Sr., kept him alive. But when he talks about the Castellano hit especially, he embellished the shit out of that. And I know firsthand he had nothing to do with that. I shouldn't say nothing. He had something to do with it, but not nowhere near the scene of the killing. He was involved in somewhat of discussions, but not directly with John Gotti Sr. either. And John, later on, needed somebody after Frankie dies, so people in the public understand this. He needed a younger guy that had guys on the street that knew all Frankie's guys that could take that crew and bring them in. Right now, he knew Sammy was vulnerable. If John doesn't take him in and tells him, see you later, Sammy ends up in a ditch. They kill him. Genevieve's family kills him. Lucchese family kills him. The Colombo family, half of them hate him already anyway. He's going to get killed. So he had nowhere to go but to go up John's ass. And he doesn't tell that part of the story. And John knew by bringing Sammy closer and making him a skipper, that's what he made him after that. And then Frankie gets blown up. Now he needs a position. And he asked Frankie Locascio to take the position, the Bronx guy, take the position of underboss. Frankie didn't want no part of it. Frankie was very quiet, low-key guy back. So Frankie didn't want no part of it. He's showing pictures and albums of a hit of Paul Castellano like it was a good thing. This is all he has in his life. He actually hangs up like they're gold records of something. But he didn't do the hit. I know the guys who did the hit, right? I know them personally. And, you know, at this point, it doesn't matter, but it ain't him. He was nowhere near it. He's blocks away. This is what he tries to take the claim and fame for things like this, that you're not there. You had nothing to do with the hit team. You didn't have nothing to do with Tony or John, and I'll say their first names, Tony or John or Jeannie or any of them. You had nothing to do with these guys, so you ain't arranging shit with them. You ain't telling them nothing. You ain't anything to them. Matter of fact, if it was up to them, they would have killed you too. So there was no trust, there was no love. None of them guys really liked him. You're lying. You're a fucking liar. And if John was still alive, he'd probably get an appeal to get out on all these lies. And I'm not saying any of us are innocent. I'm not innocent for anything I did. John's not innocent. I'm just saying this guy lied. And, and that's what he did. He lied about that hit, and he lied about the Castellano hit. He was maybe 5 blocks away. Well, you didn't go past. It's impossible to go past that on any day. Spark Steakhouse, you can't even get past there. Forget about going past there if there's a body laying half in the street. They're not happening. With the crowds of people during Christmas, forget it. It's bullshit. So that's another story. And you was nowhere near. You didn't have the gun in your hand. You were nowhere near the body, and that's the only thing he has to live off of.
All right, this is another part to the podcast where John Alite discusses John Gotti's feelings towards Sammy the Bull Gravano while they are still on the street before their arrest. So I thought it was interesting. Let's check it out.
Now, Sammy can try to elevate himself in John's mind, but when he was on the street, John wanted to kill him. Now, he knows that, but John made it very specific to me. I do not want you talking to him again. And I didn't really understand it. And I'm wondering why he didn't want me sitting there talking to him. And then I understood later on, because he made some comments basically saying to me, if this guy's got to go, I don't want you friendly with him. He didn't say those words directly, but that's what he's saying, that you're going to have to kill this guy. So he wanted to make sure I never got friendly with a guy, so you wouldn't have to worry about ever getting the order to kill the guy. It wouldn't bother you at the least. You'd just kill him. No hesitation. But if John had respect for Johnny Koenig, I never seen Johnny Koenig carry an umbrella from him. And I don't mean that. I joke about it at times. I made fun of him. But I'm not saying this to be sarcastic towards him right now. He wouldn't even think of asking Johnny Koenig to do that, and Johnny Koenig would never do it. He would laugh at him and throw the umbrella at him if somebody knew the way Johnny was. He was a different relationship with Senior. But when Senior needed to kill somebody, he would have told Angelo Ruggiero, right? He would have told Johnny Koenig. He would have told his brother, even though they'd argue with each other, they're brothers. He would have told his inner circle, and Sammy wasn't part of that inner circle. Sammy doesn't understand. If John doesn't die or doesn't go to jail, I was the Albanian that was going to kill him. I'm the guy that was going to make sure that Sammy didn't ever talk. So he can believe it, not believe it, I really don't care. But when he talks about putting in work, he did nothing. He did hardly nothing, anything at all in 40-something years.